Greetings everyone, in today's video we will be discussing about the science fiction film titled Inuyashiki. Spoilers are coming, so be prepared. Ichiro, a middle-class man, recently bought a new home for his family, but they don't seem to appreciate his efforts and keep whining about how little it is compared to all the other homes in the area. To celebrate, the father bought sushi for the family, but they prefer to eat out and head to a restaurant without their father. Ichiro is forced to spend the celebration at work by himself. His supervisor is unhappy with his new initiative to sell energy drinks, which is costing the business a lot of money. While his manager rants at him in front of all of his coworkers, Ichiro makes a public apology. After a challenging day, he returns home to discover a thief robbing a man who looks like him. Ichiro turns around in terror, but his daughter, who is waiting outside his house, sees him and accuses him of being a coward. Ichiro spots a stray dog approaching him that had been left behind by her owner. Hanako is her name, and the main character instantly connects with her. As the wife notices her husband walking the dog, she yells at him to get rid of her. She gives him a report on his most recent physical that calls for additional testing. The doctor breaks the bad news to Ichiro, telling him that he only has 3 months to live and has stage 4 cancer. As he tries to call his wife to tell her the news, she decides to ignore him. He next tries to call his daughter, but she also rejects his call. He tries to notify his family about his medical condition at dinner time, but they are too preoccupied with themselves and continue to hold the father responsible for all of life's little mishaps. While ignoring the agony in her husband's eyes, the wife asks that he get rid of the dog. Ichiro wonders if his family will even shed a single tear as he leads his pet out into the streets. He apologizes to Hanako for the bad news and makes an effort to leave her behind, but she sticks with him everywhere he goes. Failing to abandon his faithful comrade, Ichiro sincerely regrets leaving his friend after realizing that Hanako is the only person in the world who cares about him. He notices Hiro sitting in the park, thinking, and they both look up as they notice a bright light coming their way. When something slams into them with dizzying speed, Ichiro loses consciousness and is surrounded by bizarre creatures. Hanako's constant barking wakes him up in the morning, and he discovers his dog lying next to him. Moreover, he miraculously recovered complete vision without his glasses. For breakfast, Ichiro returns home, only to discover that he cannot taste any of the food and is incredibly thirsty while drinking water from the faucet. When he returns to his room, he discovers that his left hand is emitting smoke. It then transforms into a huge gun and fires what appears to be the soup he previously ingested. His entire body starts to change and open up, revealing mechanical components beneath the skin. Ichiro is able to gather himself when his wife enters the room. It turns out that Hiro, the man who was with Ichiro the previous night, and Mari, Ichiro's daughter, are in the same class. He goes to his friend Chaco and decides to use the ability he has gained from the experience from last night to blast a bird out of the air with his fingers to demonstrate it to him. Hiro then brings his companion to a parking garage underground, where he shows off his mental automobile control skills before revealing a mechanical body hidden beneath. Ichiro observes an injured pigeon on the floor as he leaves work at the same moment. Surprisingly, he is able to heal the animal fully and restore its sensation of flight while treating it with kindness. As he hears another voice of pain from a distance, he urgently travels to the hospital to see a youngster who is on the verge of passing away from a terminal illness. Ichiro places his hand on the boy and, like the pigeon, is able to revive him, bringing the boy's mother and son back together. He leaves knowing that on the other side, he helped save someone's life. Meanwhile, Hiro confronts the bullies with his friend and demands an apology and the return of the money they stole. Hiro then grabs the bully's arm and injures him until he gets what he wants. Hiro points at the man, and Chaco prevents him from killing him by saying that enough is enough. A girl named Shion notices his apparent bravery and confesses to him in the corridor. Hiro thanks her for the compliments and turns to leave while grinning. Despite being betrayed by her ex-husband, Hiro's mother still displays concern for his well-being and wants to spend time with him. She and Hiro's father were divorced because Hiro's father fell in love with someone else. Hiro visits them there and has supper with them and their family. You can see that their joy, however, just serves to enrage Hiro to no end because he feels that it was taken from his mother while he was playing with his half-brother. Hiro hesitates as he was pointing his finger in the direction of the family. He eventually comes to a stop as he turns to face his father and acknowledges that despite what the guy has done, he still loves him. Hiro is alone as he makes his way home and overhears the families in the area celebrating. He enters one of the homes and starts shooting everyone there. After rescuing more people, Ichiro hears this from the hospital and immediately hurries to the house, where he discovers the young girl with a bullet hole in her head. He tries to use his power to save her but discovers that it is limited to helping creatures. Hiro is standing over the dead bodies when Ichiro enters the living room. Ichiro knows the man from the park earlier, but before he can say anything, Hiro attacks and knocks him out cold. Unharmed, he makes a quick recovery and runs outside, only to witness Hiro take off into the distance. Chaco meets with Hiro and expresses his suspicions that the murders from last night were the work of his friend because no bullets were fired in either of the victims' deaths. Hiro acknowledges that he killed the family, but he defends it by asserting that he is a deity. He then claims that strangers die every day regardless of what occurs and that people shouldn't feel bad for those who they don't even know. Chaco rejects this and shrinks back in apprehension. Chaco breaks off their friendship with Hiro and flees from the murderer. When Hiro returns home, his mother shocks him by telling him that he must now live with his father. She claims that the doctors warned her she wouldn't live much longer because her cancer was incurable. Hiro sobs and holds his mother close, promising never to let her pass away. After being demoted by the corporation, Ichiro returns home and informs his family. His wife yells at him while fretting about their mortgage, and his daughter gets very upset at him for his inefficiency. Ichiro weeps the fact that he can't shield his own family from harm and expresses skepticism about his capacity to put an end to the killings and aid those in need. He then hears Chaco's voice pleading for help to prevent his best friend from murdering more people. Ichiro decides to utilize his abilities to stop Hiro from killing other people after realizing that he must stop doubting his abilities. He transforms into his robot form and flies towards the sky while carrying Hanako with him. Ichiro enters the park and meets Chaco. During their discussion of what transpired that evening, Chaco makes the speculative claim that Ichiro and Hiro must have both been rebuilt by extraterrestrials. He decides to tell Ichiro based on what he observed Hiro was capable of doing because he assumes that they must both possess the same skills. They visit a junkyard where they each attempt to shoot a tin can with their hand. To put it simply, the elderly man needs a lot of practice before he can even begin to hope to defeat his opponent on the opposite side. As Hiro takes his mother to the doctor, he learns that the cancer has completely removed from her body, most likely as a result of his son using his talents to treat her. Hiro urges his mother to live life and take vacations as they make their way home together. Her life has been challenging from the start, and he vows to make her happy. But when a crew of policemen shows up, the guys feel compelled to ask Hiro about the killings. Hiro instantly flees as his mother cries out for his name. He dashes into the parking lot after throwing the policemen around like ragdolls. He utilizes his abilities to kill 3 of the officers, while others shoot at him without having any impact. Hiro leaps off the stairway and starts to fly away from the place. As soon as the news of his escape hits the media, Hiro finds himself on the run with nowhere to go. Fortunately, Shion sees him and chooses to take him in. Despite his present circumstances, Hiro found out that Shion is living with her grandmother, the only remaining family member. She doesn't think she will live very long because her parents passed away from disease a long time ago. On the other hand, Ichiro finally makes some progress in his training, but the constant effort quickly wears him out. After deploying his weapons, he feels thirsty once more and takes the energy drink from his group, thinking that the water must feed their bodies because they are so thirsty. Ichiro starts to experience physical discomfort and, like the last time with the soup, shoots the liquid out of his body. Choco soon understands that they might be able to take advantage of the possibility that the sodium content is what's causing his body to malfunction. Hiro learns from watching the news about his mother later that night that everyone is holding her responsible for what her son did. She apologizes constantly, but no one seems sympathetic. He sobs when he realizes that the person he loves the most in this world is now paying for the sins he did. He soon learns through the news that his mother was found dead in her apartment. At this understanding, Hiro is in a state of shock. When he starts reading the video's comments, he finds that everyone is calling his mother's name a dirty word. Hiro loses control and uses his abilities to break into the commenters' computers out of wrath. He then begins killing everyone through their displays, causing widespread mortality across the country as individuals pass away after staring at their devices. Shion discovers Hiro having trouble falling asleep at night and tries to reassure him. Hiro, however, claims that it was his fault that all those individuals were killed. In an effort to frighten her away, he changes in front of her. Shion, though, doesn't think Hiro is a murderer. Hiro rushes her outside and hoists her into the air before asking Shion whether she is scared. The main reason Shion is afraid of him leaving, though, is that he recognizes that she is the only person in the world who still cares about him, and he makes a commitment to look out for her and be by her side always. Hiro can now sleep at last. He's extremely human, says Shion with a smile. As Shion enters the kitchen, she senses something nearby. When Shion turns around, she is met by a horde of troops who are pointing their weapons at her. Hiro notices this and seizes Shion at once while the soldiers continue to fire at his body. He then spins around and retaliates with rage, killing every single one of them. After things calm down, he sees that Shion has already passed away and has numerous gunshot wounds. After learning of his friend's passing, Hiro swears to slay everyone in the nation. When Ichiro learns about the recent murders in the news, he tells his family to put their phones away. Despite the risks, none of them pay attention and go out anyway. Mari catches up with her classmates as they ascend to the top of a building to take in the view. Hiro starts broadcasting himself on every network and to everyone, announcing his plans to devastate the nation in order to exact revenge on his family. Nobody takes him seriously until he starts firing at the crowd and bodies start to pile up all around him. There is nowhere to hide from his attacks as everyone flees in a flurry of fright. Ichiro successfully diverts the signal. Then Chako orders everyone to destroy their phones in order to stop the attacks without any method to contact the general public. Hiro makes the decision to launch multiple missiles at the city and set off numerous explosions in an effort to directly assault humanity. Ichiro locates Hiro and makes an effort to get him to stop. But despite his best efforts, the young guy is unable to hear what the elderly man is saying because he starts following after the old man as they pass through city structures. He starts firing a volley of missiles, but Ichiro dodges them as they go off behind him. As they race through an underground tunnel toward Mari, Ichiro nearly gets killed by oncoming traffic. When they get closer, Ichiro can hear Mari pleading for help since her building was damaged by one of the missiles. Ichiro tries to run after his daughter but is assaulted from behind by Hiro, who also damages his flight system and causes him to crash land on a building. Ichiro attempts to shoot the man, but Hiro avoids the bullets and kicks him through the structure. A helicopter explodes when they collide with it and knock it into the walls. Ichiro continues to implore Hiro to stop killing as they land on a rooftop. Hiro attempts to rehydrate by pulling out a bottle of water, but Ichiro obliterates it. Hiro rushes at him and snatches the water away from Ichiro as he continues to launch rockets and consume the entire bottle. Ichiro is sent into the air. Hiro chases the old guy as they fly higher into the atmosphere. He launches more missiles against Ichiro, who is launched into space by the blast. Hiro hits him and uses the chance to hold Ichiro with the intention of finishing the fight with a final strike. To his astonishment, however, Ichiro replaced the water he had earlier shot out with energy drink. Ichiro changes his arm into a weapon and fires a barrage of projectiles at Hiro, sending him hurtling towards the earth with the explosions as Hiro recoils as his body malfunctions. Ichiro flies to the structure where his daughter is located and spots Mari on the floor unresponsive. He tries everything to revive her and he succeeds in reviving her breathing. The elderly man begins to cry as they hold one another. He receives a sudden kick from the side that sends him flying toward the walls. Hiro apparently survived the prior fall and has come back to exact revenge. As he finds that Mari is the old man's daughter, he starts shooting her in the stomach. Ichiro gets in the way and Hiro smacks him around like a ragdoll while beating him in front of his daughter. Mari is seized by Hiro, who leads her to the building's edge. Hiro wants him to suffer the same desperations he has all the time, so he tosses Mari from the building. Ichiro summons all of his energy and flies in the direction of Hiro. Ichiro, who is flying toward his daughter, collides with the man and breaks off his arm. When Ichiro descends, he notices that Mari is still falling. Mari is caught by him as she is about to strike the ground when he reaches out and grabs her. After being treated by her father, Mari awakens and discovers that her father is a superhero. Ichiro then rushes to save as many people as he can. Although the government has acknowledged Hiro's passing, they have only discovered fragments of unknown origin metals at the scene rather than his actual body. Ichiro eats supper with his family as though nothing has changed, but his daughter has realized that her father is a real hero.
As Choko returns home, he is shocked to discover that Hiro has survived the fight but is missing an arm. Choko is happy to learn that his friend is still alive and invites him to play the newest video game. After discovering the game, Choco turns around to discover that Hiro has departed because he realized that staying would only put his best buddy in risk. How do you guys feels about this movie? If you like the video, please feel free to like and subscribe, and leave your idea in the comments area. See you again soon.